I'm gonna do a quick update. As of the making of this video, I just finished making the video, everything, did the script, I voiced the outro, got all the clips together, and I said, you know what, let me hop into the YouTube comments. Let me see what they're saying. Let me see what's going on. Right? Are the comments still positive? Is everything still going well? And then I just hop into the comments, and then I just see a lot of just reply chains, multiple reply chains where the nice discussions and sharing of ideas turned into just people shit talking each other and just saying how toxic the community really is and just venting about it. And then other people just saying, you're a pussy for doing that. So, yeah, that's really funny. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of this video, but I already went through the problem of making it, so I'm just gonna upload it anyways, and we're just gonna see what happens. You can go see the video and the comments for yourself if you're interested. But yeah, this is really funny to me, dude. Also, a bunch of you dunderheads, a bunch of you idiots didn't actually watch the video and are just saying that I'm bad-mouthing Tekken and the Tekken community and I'm hating on Tekken, when quite literally in the whole fucking video, I'm saying good things. I'm saying nice things about the community. I'm being nice and impartial. And that part is also very funny. That part is really funny because I get to read these comments, and it's just it's just like, oh, these people have no reading comprehension or just no patience whatsoever. Good to know. No wonder you're getting cooked in Tekken. No wonder you're getting absolutely dunked on by Fujins. Alright, so in the last video, I asked a pretty simple question. Is the Tekken community toxic? And honestly, the response was way bigger than I expected. The video did way better than I thought it would. And more importantly, the comments section completely popped off. As of right now, the video has almost 250 comments. For me, that is a huge amount of comments. I had a lot of fun reading them over my little Christmas break. A very small little weekend break that I had. And I just want to say thank you. Seriously. A huge majority of those comments were thoughtful, well argued, or based on real experiences. And I had a lot of genuinely good conversations with some of you guys in the replies. Some of the comments were also just straight up funny, like unintentionally hilarious, and reading through all of them was honestly a lot of fun. So I wanted to make a follow-up video, not to call anyone out, not to respond to individual comments, but to kind of give you the general answers, or a general consensus, so to speak, that came out of all of this. Obviously, this is a small sample size, but when you put all those perspectives together, some pretty clear patterns start to show up. And on top of that, I also want to give my own thoughts after summarizing everything. So yeah, let's talk about it. Alright, so let's get straight to it. Is the Tekken community toxic? The real answer is that it's nuanced. Tekken isn't one single community, it's a bunch of different subgroups that all like the same series for completely different reasons. Some people love Tekken just because of the customization, right? Just because of the cosplaying. Some grew up with it and care about the lore, the characters, and the single player content. They love the story of the game, right? And they're in it for just the love of the world of Tekken. Others don't care about any of that and only care about online ranked and competitive play. Because of that, you can't just throw the entire community under one toxic or not label. And from what you guys said, and from my own experience, the most consistently toxic space is online ranked and online competitive play. And that is not shocking whatsoever. All right, that is very obvious. The sky is blue, the grass is green, right? You know, water is wet. It's very obvious. You already have ego, competition, and frustration baked into the game, into online play. And fighting games amplify that even more. It's literally a perfect toxic brew. But pretty much everywhere else, offline, locals, casual meetups, lab monsters, lore nerds, right? Character specialists. Those spaces are usually the complete opposite, and most of you describe them as welcoming, helpful, and genuinely excited to get new players into the insanity that is Tekken. A lot of people want to teach, a lot of people want to help, and a lot of people just want others to love the game the way that they do. And one thing I want to be clear about is when I say competitive, I'm mostly talking about ranked. And in my personal opinion, ranked is still casual play. You're not playing for money. You're not on a tournament stage. You're competing with yourself. Okay, you're not flying out and going to these things. But those rank focused spaces tend to treat it like it's life or death. And that's where a lot of that toxicity stems from. So no, the community as a whole is not toxic. But there are specific pockets where that toxicity thrives on. All right, so let's talk about where this toxicity actually comes from. Like we've already said, most of it comes from a very small portion of the online player base that treats Tekken like it's life or death competition, and competition naturally breeds intensity. That part is inevitable. The problem is when people start tying their identity to the game, their rank, their character, their playstyle, it becomes their ego. So any criticism, any loss, any disagreement stops being about the game and starts feeling like a personal attack. Add rank stress on top of that, the anxiety of promoting, demoting, climbing, falling, and Tekken's rank system starts feeling less like matchmaking, and again, like I stated in previous videos, it feels more like a caste system, a hierarchy. And that's where things get ugly. Then you layer in what I'd call the scrub mentality, the refusal to adapt, the refusal to accept the reality in front of you, not learning, not adjusting, just blaming the game, the devs, the characters, and everyone except yourself. Is Tekken 8 different from Tekken 7? Yeah. Is Season 2 controversial? Absolutely. Do we hate Season 2? You can bet your ass we do. Did the developers make serious design mistakes? Absolutely, 100%. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You as an individual player can't meaningfully control those decisions unless you're voting with your wallet as a collective. And as it stands, we don't have that power. So the real question becomes, what can you control? You can control how much of your self-worth you tie to a video game. You can control whether your rank defines you. You can control whether your losses turn into learning or into bitterness. And honestly, a lot of toxicity disappears when people stop letting a game decide their value as a person. Social media makes all of this worse. These spaces tend to amplify the loudest, angriest, least nuanced takes. People group up, reinforce each other, and parrot opinions without actually putting in the work themselves, without labbing, without adapting, without forming their own views. And again, this isn't the whole community, it's a loud minority. But loud minorities shape the tone of online spaces, whether we like it or not. When it comes to how we actually measure toxicity, a lot of you brought up things like teabagging, taunting, key charging, or not rematching. Personally, I don't consider that toxic. For me, toxicity starts when it spills into real life. When people start messaging others directly, crossing lines, and trying to genuinely hurt someone. And I don't mean stuff like your KBD sucks, you're playing a scrub character, you're playing like a scrub. That's just trash talk. That's just normal competitive trash talk. I grew up playing sports, basketball specifically, and trash talk, physicality, and ego were just part of the game, right? So I don't think I'm immune to it, but I understand it as a part of competition. And fighting games have always had that element, for me at least. A lot of you actually agreed with that, while others didn't. And that split was really interesting. What I noticed is that many of the people who don't see those things as toxic tend to be, of course, the older players or people who came up during the arcade era, right? Back then, trash talk and taunting were normal, but you were doing it face to face, And if there was beef, it got settled right there in person. Online, that nuance gets completely lost. You can't see the other person, you don't know how they're taking it, and that lack of context makes the same behavior feel way worse. So when people say Tekken feels more toxic online, I think that's a huge part of it as well. Not just what's being done, but how it's being communicated. And a lot of you also pointed out something I agree with. Tekken 8 isn't uniquely toxic. It's about as toxic as any competitive fighting game. Honestly, that applies to competitive games in general. Everyone complains about their favorite game, everyone bitches about balance, matchmaking, and mechanics, and then logs back in the next day to put another 1,000 hours into it. The cycle never really changes. Now I want to pivot into something lighter, something more positive, and something a little bit more wholesome. Because if the heavier stuff wasn't enough, a lot of you shared genuinely great experiences. I saw a ton of comments from people saying Tekken 8 was their first Tekken and that they've already made friends through it. People talking about how welcoming others were, how helpful the community felt, especially in places like the Tekken Lounge, which compared to online ranked or social media, a lot of you said felt way more relaxed and chill. A lot of you also weren't just talking about toxicity, you were joking about it, laughing at it, treating it like a background noise. And I noticed that tends to come from more experienced players, people who've been around long enough to, realize who cares? Who really cares about what some random person online thinks about your rank, your character, or how you play? Especially when you're just enjoying the game, the characters, and the lore on your own terms. One of my favorite parts of reading the comments was hearing people talk about the old days. Arcades, local tournaments, friends gathering around a cabinet or a console. That late 90s, early 2000s era of gaming culture, the energy, the atmosphere, the community around it. A lot of you said you still carry that spirit today. Some of you still interact in that same nature, in that same way. And some of you still play with friends. And of course, others have moved on already. Life happens, people grow, priorities change, and the same way as you move on from your old childhood franchise after going a completely different direction that you do not agree with, which is completely understandable. And that's just a part of life. That is perfectly fine. But what really stood out to me was how many people defended the Tekken community because of those positive experiences. Not blindly, but honestly. And that matters because it shows that for every loud negative pocket online, there's a much larger group of people just enjoying the game and just enjoying each other, really. And something else a lot of you seem to agree on, there was a pretty clear consensus, is that when you actually deal with people person to person, whether that's offline or in smaller, more personal spaces, the Tekken community really isn't that bad at all. It's usually when you start dealing with the weird online pockets, the ones, that things get messy. And even then, a lot of you said you all kind of react to those people the same way. You roll your eyes, you mute, or you move on. Another thing I really appreciated was how many of you were just relating to me, relating to the situation, relating to dealing with toxicity, rank stress, ego, all of it. That part honestly surprised me the most. If I'm being real with you, I was expecting way more negativity. With a title and thumbnail like that, I thought the comment section was going to be, it was be a little bit of a war zone, and it really wasn't. It genuinely wasn't. Or I wasn't going to get much or any comments or any clicks. So it was a very nice, pleasant surprise. Also, I noticed comments about me playing Lars. And yeah, I fully expect to get cooked in the comment sections for that alone. And honestly, I welcome it. I get it. I know the history. I know that he was busted in Tekken 6. That he was super strong and just constantly in every single team in Tag 2. That he was bad in Tekken 7. Garbage again in early Tekken 8. But now they overbuffed him again and now he's a monster. Yes, I know I'm carried by Den 3. Yes, I know G-Clef is overpowered and a god string. Yes, I know my 10 frame punish is ridiculous. And yes, Lars's heat is fucking disgusting. I know the constant 50-50s are annoying as hell. And I know getting clipped once feels like, you're in a nightmare sequence, just getting mixed to death, right? I get it. Cry me a river. It's just part of the game. It's just that I know that the character is like that. But even with all that, the comments were still mostly respectful, funny, thoughtful, and honest. And that says a lot more about the community than people give it credit for. And Yeah, also, as we're done talking about the positives, there is also a small minority of people that completely missed the point of the video because they clearly didn't watch it. They just came in, dropped a comment, and dipped. And that's fine. Honestly, that's perfectly fine. That's still engagement. That's still supporting the video in its own way. And a lot of those comments made me laugh. I actually welcome those comments as well. Like I said before, I'm not taking offense to jabs, pokes, or criticisms. No matter how harsh it is, I can take it, and I'll hold that. That's all part of putting yourself out there, and you can use a lot of those comments to grow. What genuinely surprised me, though, is how little of that there actually was. Like I said, over 95% of the comments, more or less, this is just a rough estimation, were people adding to the conversation, venting constructively, sharing experiences, or outright saying positive things about the Tekken community. And that is, that's what, again, caught me off guard in a wonderful way. Another thing that stood out to me was how similar so many of your experiences were, especially from newer or less experienced Tekken players. Their responses overall were very balanced, very grounded. Of course, you still have people who weren't balanced, people who were exposed to a lot of toxicity, and when you read their comments, it's not hard to understand why they feel the way that they do about the community. Some of them got hit with character shaming, some joined during the peak of Season 2 anger, some joined when Season 1 blew up and everyone from every other fighting game showed up with their own baggage and expectations. And you also had people coming from other FGC games saying either Tekken isn't that bad compared to what I'm used to, or the complete opposite. This was one of the worst communities experiences I've had. And honestly, both of those things can be true at the same time. When people describe what they went through, it's really not hard to see why they walked away with the opinions they have. As I keep saying, reading all that was genuinely a lot of fun. The whole experience. And eye-opening too. And with all that said, now I want to pivot into my actual stance, what I personally think about the Tekken community after reading all those comments. So, is the Tekken community toxic? In my personal opinion, and based on everything I've said in this video, plus what I've read in the comments, the answer is yes. But it's very context dependent. It's nuanced. The part of the community I spent most of my time in is ranked. If you looked at my stats, if you look at my account, you'll see I've played a fuck ton of ranked matches. I love that shit. I thrive on the pressure, the anger, the spite, the salt. That's how I'm wired. I also went out of my way to check other online spaces, Reddit especially. We already know what Twitter or X is like. We've all seen it in videos and whatnot. But the subreddit, the place can be a straight up cesspit. It's the Wild West. You'll see cool stuff, lore posts, memes, character discussions, and then you'll see someone post an honest opinion, maybe even a newbie opinion, and the comment section just dogpiles them. It doesn't matter how valid or harmless the take is, the pile on still happens. And yeah, that's unhinged behavior, let's call it what it is. Then you add in the Season 2 meltdown, content creators blowing up Tekken nonstop, the coordinated Steam review bombing, the boycott website. I remember all that. Was some of it warranted? Sure. The developers absolutely dropped the ball in Season 2. But the way that it spiraled, that was very ugly. So for my experience, especially as someone who lives in ranked and in those spaces, and that's mainly why I am continuously playing Tekken apart from the lore, the story, the characters, because I will keep repeating this, I enjoy the series because of the lore, the characters, the story, the zany story. I love it. I truly do. But I also like the competitive, ranked nature of the game as well. I like both sides. I really enjoy both sides. I don't know. I'm sick in the head. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm toxic as hell. I don't know what to tell you, man. I really don't know. So basically, as someone with my experience, has it been toxic? Yes, absolutely. It's been wonderfully so. It's very funny tuning into it. But here's the important part. When I step outside of that space, when I talk to people directly, when I read your comments, when I engage with the community on a more personal level, the experience is completely different. Friendly, thoughtful, funny, and honest. Over 200 comments, and like I said earlier, A lot of them were positive. The vast majority of them were positive, constructive, or genuinely insightful. That honestly, again, I can't keep stating it enough how surprised I was, because I expected way more hostility. So what does that tell me? It tells me the Tekken community isn't inherently toxic. They're just a very loud, very aggressive pocket, mostly online competitive spaces that skew that perception. So yeah, for how I play the game, is it toxic? Yes. Does it affect me? No. Does it sometimes even enhance the experience? A little bit. But that's my final take. Tekken isn't a toxic community, it's a passionate one with a competitive side that doesn't always know how to chill the fuck out. Alright, before we wrap up, I just want to give a genuine thanks to each and every one of you for engaging with the video. Whether you're coming from the previous video or this is the first one you're watching, I really appreciate you sticking through, watching, and leaving a comment. To those that subbed or dropped a like, thank you so much. I love and appreciate you. To those that subbed or dropped a like in the previous video, thank you so much. I love and appreciate you. The discourse that was had and just seeing the comment section full of people having, again, an honest discussion, giving their honest thoughts and opinions, that's what I wanted. And I'd call it a massive success because of all of you. My next upload will probably be about me hitting God of Destruction, my experience or what it felt like, and how it changed my perspective on the game in general, and how my opinion on certain things have changed initially from the game, right? How my thoughts on the game has changed, and how my outlook on the game's overall balancing. We're not going to talk about the community. We're going to talk about the game, the actual $70 game that we paid for. At least I did at release. Woe is me. So yeah, if you're interested in that, please stick around. I'll also be doing more of my usual content, which would be gameplay, discussions, maybe some breakdowns, maybe some guides here and there. I'm not the ultimate expert, but I'll drop my thoughts and try to make it entertaining. So let me know down in the comments what you want to see next, and with that, I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks again, and you are the reason this was such a fun experience.